Aw.
Did you smell something good up there? This big tree is a white oak. And you know, it could be 150 or 200 years maybe. The bigger and the older the tree, the bigger and the more developed the communication network is, so that the mother tree has maintained this huge network that other younger trees can tap into. And so under here there's blackberries, black raspberries, walnuts are coming up, some mulberry, some little oaks, lots of grapevines. So it's wild fruits and nuts growing together. When you have a diversity, then it's hard for one destructive disease or bacteria to take over because, you know, it can't get very far. So I'm not sure what kind of willow this is. I was gonna say it's a black willow, and the trunks get massive, you know, like 2-3 feet in diameter, and then they do this thing like a walking onion.
Oh yeah.
They fall over and then they re-sprout, you know, different places. So if they fall in the water, they'll re-sprout in the water. If they fall in the moist soil on the edge. And so a lot of the wetland soil is created by all this carbon that they generate very quickly. Oysters really like this log.
Yeah, you can see the little new sprouts coming up out of this.
Yeah, and they're a tree, you know, that grows quickly and then dies, but, you know, I don't think people appreciate, you know, what it does, you know, in terms of soil building.
What does it do in terms of soil building?
Well, just degrading, like growing quickly and then composting quickly and creating humus in the soil. There's more life below ground than above, you know, in terms of numbers. You know, trillions of bacteria and living networks that can extend for miles.
Just a man and his mushrooms.
Here's some shiitake here. There's not a lot, but you know, here's one example of a log that's fruiting, you know, relatively early in the season. You can see how they grow out and around. These are maybe a little fresher here. And this particular one likes the late fall and the early spring when things are cold. These are all box elder stumps, but makes a really nice oyster log.
So different mushrooms like different logs better.
Yeah. Yeah. The shiitake does really well with the oak and the maple and the beech. Here's some mycelium here. This is one example of how it cultures the stumps. And these stumps will be full of moist oysters for, you know, 4 to 6 years maybe before they compost into the soil.
So they're kind of eating up the log and breaking it down while they're growing on it.
Yeah, they're carbon digesters. They like carbohydrates, and they can eat a certain amount of the carbon in the log.
So it sounds like mushrooms need their own like wood sommelier. Like this branch goes great with your shiitake fungus. An oak pairing. Oh wow, there's a lot of logs in here.
Potentially, you know, we're looking at a soil that is alive with mycelium and bacteria.
For someone who's not really familiar with it, what is mycelium and what does it do?
Mycelium can grow outward and around the root hairs, and then extend the root capacity. And there's trades that can occur with the mycelium, so they'll trade minerals for carbohydrates. And the networks are symbiotic. You know, it actually helps the trees, and the trees help the fungus, so it's a mutual helping rather than competition. So in terms of farming, this is really ideal. I mean, in terms of like soil building, this is ideal. Ooh, there's something over here. This beech is really, there's not very many beech in the woods here, and this beech was not getting much sun. And there's a silver maple over here we cut down. This tree was shading the beech, but you can see what happened. What we're noticing is that this elderberry has been dropped by the birds in the understory here. So this is a very medicinal plant. But I was kind of tickled to see that the birds were dropping them around, and they're kind of nicely dispersed in the woods here.
Yeah, they've just taken off.
And you know, these are the oldest logs probably we have here. And they're going back to the soil. We put some ramps back here.
Oh, these are beautiful.
Yeah, just a highly nutritious allium. And then this is a special early spring green.
Nice.
I like how you can see the color.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh, nice. It's hot, but it's nice.
Yeah, you can taste it. It doesn't make your tongue like tingle a little. I feel like just because I'm
Yeah, a little bit. I'm grabbing a handful of these ramps, and we're gonna make a quick pickle. Typically vinegar, a little bit of sugar, salt, hibiscus leaves, and you pour it over whatever veg you're trying to pickle. Cleaning the mushroom. You don't want to soak it in water because mushrooms have a lot of water already, and they'll just absorb a lot of the water. And when I cook it, I want to get the water out, so I don't want to introduce too much water, but there's sometimes dirt. So I like taking a damp towel and, like you can see, just kind of brushing it off. You kind of see how beautiful they are naturally. A few water droplets, they're turning into balls, so I think it's quite hot.
oh yeah, look at them dancing around.
Yeah. I will add some ghee, but again, you can add butter. That is quite hot. Okay, yeah, these are done. So they are super golden on both sides. You toss it a little bit, but yeah. I really like adding mirin, which is a cooking wine, and it brings out the umami. Very good.
I didn't always know that soil is a living organism.
Yeah, well, it's like the gut biome, you know, having diversity in the gut biome. So if we're just eating processed sugar, we probably have a pretty unstable gut biome, pretty stressed out. But if we're eating a diversity of shapes and sizes of roughage and leaves and stems and plants, and then our gut biome is more diverse. Like our own gut biome is tied to the soil. And that's why if you watch pigs enjoying every bite of food they eat with dirt. So they're constantly digging and constantly eating dirt. But yeah, in some ways they are not apart from the earth. And, economically and culturally, psychically, we become so separate from the earth as a species. Some people refer to it as the species apart. We've set ourselves apart from the natural world.
Like, I think people are just so burnt out digitally now. Like, they're all like, there's the analog movement.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's getting the flip phones or paying a bunch of money to convert their smartphone into a dumb phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all these like homesteader hopefuls and country curious folk. It's like, I think they really just want to have their hands in some sourdough and their toes in some dirt, but I feel like it's so inaccessible and like such a foreign world for people who grew up in a digital era their entire lives and never knew anything else. It just seems so far removed.
Yeah. Well, somebody like Lisi Krauss, who's an economist, I think she was teaching in Chicago or something. She talked about the beginning of agriculture being, the economy that kind of created a lot of class society and dominance hierarchies that then took people away from being part of a biome or part of an ecosystem and just into more of a human world. So we've been with this for 10,000 years, so it's answering that 10,000-year-old question, what's our future? Are we going to return to the Paleolithic or whatever, time before agriculture? Or some combination. So, putting an emphasis on ecology over agriculture, is one way of aspiring. But the things that are positive, they're working for us, is that we have all this power in the soil, these remnants that are there and still available. And so those things will come back, once, things change, which they will. And so it's a positive thing to look forward to, that there will be recovery.